What's up guys, and welcome back to the channel. In today's review, I'm going to be giving you a review of the Star Wars, the Black Series, the Mandalorian, the Child. This was a figure that I have been waiting for ever since the Child made his debut in episode 1 of the Mandalorian. Now before I begin this review, I first want to say that I have never been a huge fan of the Star Wars movies. I've always had an average interest in them, and I've always been a massive fan of the actual design of Star Wars. I absolutely love the vehicles and the design of some of the stormtroopers and the villains and the lightsabers. I love all of that, but I've never really been able to wrap my head around the whole mythology of Star Wars. I have enjoyed some of the more recent Star Wars movies, specifically the prequels, Rogue One, and yes, even Solo, but The Mandalorian has been the first thing to come out from Star Wars where I've actually been hooked on, and I'm so glad that Hasbro are making some amazing figures to go along with a great show. So to quickly cover the packaging, you can see here that it's a very small miniaturized version of the Star Wars, the Black Series packaging. We've got the Mandalorian logo there with the Child. We've got the Child written on the side, but with no numbering on the side, so this doesn't count in any of the Black Series numbering. And then on the back of the packaging, we just have legal information, and this side just has the Child. Now, taking a look at Baby Yoda himself, or the Child, I've got to say that this is by far the character that really made me fall in love with the Mandalorian. The Child is just such a cute character. I do hope that Season 2 delves more into the Child's backstory, but you can see here, I think Hasbro have done an amazing job of the sculpt work. You can even see on the top of his head, it is incredibly difficult to actually see, but there is actually some paint work going on there for where the hairs of the Child would be, and they even go ever so slightly onto the extremely long ears. We can see that the face sculpt looks really nice with all of the wrinkled detailing. You can pick out details such as his eyes, his eyelids, his nose, as well as his mouth, and even pick out his really cute defined cheeks. If we turn around to the back, we can see that it's mainly just a flat texture, but the actual texturing to his cloak or his robe is actually really well done as well. You can see all of the creased and wrinkled material effect. And even on the cuffs, it definitely appears as if though it's a different material to the rest of the sculpt. I absolutely love how this whole hood section looks as if though it's just way too big for Baby Yoda. It looks really nice, and you've got the details there. Even some subtle detailings there for his actual fingers. And then the toes are also quite nicely detailed. Even some of the detail that perhaps you wouldn't even notice so much. In terms of articulation, the head is on a ball joint. This figure is just made out of ball joints, so it could look left to right as well as up and down. I wish it could have perhaps looked up ever so slightly more. His arms are on ball joints. They can rotate the full 360 degrees. However, they cannot hinge inwards, which is such a shame as he isn't able to actually hold the cup that he does in fact include. It would have been nice if they could have packed in a pair of interchangeable arms for him to actually hold the cup. But nevertheless, I think that what we do have is quite nice. The hands are on ball joints as well, and then finally the feet themselves are also on ball joints, so are fully articulated. So it's quite a nice looking figure, but once again, I would have liked it if they could have included some interchangeable arms where you could have popped these ones off and then popped a piece in with the actual arms molded together. Then he could have held the cup. But definitely quite a nice figure, so just setting him off to the side. He does also come with some accessories. Now, I'm not going to get them out just as they're so small, and I'm glad that they do in fact come in this transparent clear case, but you can see that that is the alien frog that we see him eat. That's the cup that has been responsible for many memes on the internet, and this here is the small barbarian, or the small circular section to what he was playing with on the spaceship, I believe. And this whole section does just open if you remove it like this. However, once again, I'm not going to remove the accessories as I really don't want to lose them. In terms of criticisms, I really wish that this could have perhaps have been a deluxe set and that it could have included the little pod that he was hovering around in. I do once again imagine that we'll probably get that later on down the line, but it would have been nice to have got it with this first release. But nevertheless, as a whole, I think that the figure is really nice. And for a very quick size comparison, here we have Baby Yoda, aka the Child, compared next to the Black Series, the Mandalorian. Now, initially, I did think that he was ever so slightly small. I mean, I think that he's probably roughly in scale, but I think that he should have been perhaps 5% bigger, maybe just a little bit larger. I mean, not so much in terms of height, but in terms of how wide he is. I think that perhaps he should be a little bit thicker, but I think that for the most part, the scale is quite nice and looks rather accurate to what we see in the show. So definitely for me, it's not too much of a drawback whatsoever. And once again, I had to get Baby Yoda, aka the Child, to go along with my Mandalorian, and I just have to hunt now for some of the rest of the figures that I missed out initially. So I really hope that you enjoyed my very brief review on the Star Wars The Black Series, the Child, aka Baby Yoda, and be sure to let me know whether or not you'd like me to check out some of the other Black Series figures, and also be sure to let me know what you thought of both the figure and the review down in the comments. Until my next review, I'll see you then. Thanks for watching.